Yeah, good morning, everyone. My name is Eunice Sari. Welcome to my presentation and webinar on Design Thinking 2.0. Sorry about the mute problem. So this is a webinar with the Business Station ASBAS program. And yeah, I'm the CEO and co-founder of UX Indonesia, as well as the co-founder of Customer Experience Insight Australia, and a Google mentor in product design and strategy. So I've been working in this field for about 20 years in the field of a customer experience and user experience. So I've been helping a lot of clients around the world, making sure that they have a good, they can create a good both digital and non-digital experience on their product and services. So this is part of the work that this webinar is part of the process, what is it, like a service provided by ASBAS, but it's going to be different in August. So it's going to be a completely new program in a 7-hour program. So you can ask more about that if you are interested. So what we are going to do today, we are going to see a little bit more about design thinking and looking at the different case studies and practical implementation. And I'm going to also share a little bit about how we actually doing the user research, trying to understand the customer need. So we're gonna start with what is design thinking. As we all know right now, we have a new different world, and we really have to think differently because a lot of things are now changed into digital, and we also have a new interaction in the way we interact with each other. And that cannot just be done by, okay, let's do everything online, let's make a website, let's make the promotion on the Instagram. We really have to think what is actually our business, what is the need of our customers, and who is actually involved in the process, not just the customer, but also other people around us, and our staff who is directly dealing with our customer, and also our staff who is behind the scene, maybe the people who are taking care of the administration, or maybe people in the kitchen, or people at the back and doing the logistic and everything like that, or also external people like the council, the government, the patron of our competitors, and everyone who actually affect how we are doing our business and making it successful. We also need to rethink, okay, if there are some people who cannot come to our store or our business directly, how we actually serve them properly. And we are talking about something that we are in WA actually, especially if you're from WA, you know about this. And this is a quite interesting case study here, because this Save WA has saved us a lot from tracing a lot of people who have been in contact or in the exposure area for the COVID-19. And this is a really quite an innovative approach of innovative solution for us in this season, especially right now with a lot of COVID. But then have we ever thought when we are using Save WA, how actually it impact our business? How actually it has impacted the people? So I'm doing a little bit of my personal study, looking at how people actually using Save WA when it is being when there was no COVID and anything like that, and when there's a COVID and we are in lockdown, the behavior of people, and it helps us a lot. Different people have a different motivation, how they actually interact with, how the owner actually interact with the patron, how actually the people interact to each other in making sure that this app actually help a lot on the business as well as help the government a lot. So when we talk about design thinking, we need to think the process with the idea of start with the end. So we really need to have an idea what kind of goal we want to achieve in the process, even though we do not really know actually like what is the end goal, or we don't, perhaps we don't have the lesser like okay, the lesser view, okay, what we want to achieve. But we need to know what we want to achieve. We want to make sure, for example, our customer are happy, feeling safe when they come to my office, when they work with us, something like that. That is like what I mean by start with the end. And if we want to make, if we want to decide what would be the end of our like a process of design thinking, we have to start also with our users. We cannot just start with okay, well, in other place they are doing this, okay, let's copy this, the way they are doing the packaging, the way they are doing their cafe, the way they are doing their business. So we cannot copy on that one, because even though we are in the same city or in the same area, the challenge might be different. So we got to look at our current users, the users who are actually using our product, whether they are continuously using the product, or if they are churning, like when they are using our product, which means that they started to use, but then they don't use it anymore, or they complain a lot, they're still using it. So we need to start understanding what is actually like their motivation coming to our business. What is actually their frustration when they are using our services? What actually what makes them happy when they are using our service? What kind of technology they use when they are interacting with our service? How they actually contact us? How they are actually like know our business in the first place? How actually like their interaction with other customers, if possible, like if, for example, we are talking about cafe, or if we talk about like an app or a product that is used like in public, for example, like a marketplace or something like that, so people can know each other review or something like that, how they interact to each other, how they like review. So, and then we also need, like, for example, how they actually like what kind of channels they think is the best for them to use, or how, for example, okay, well, they know about our business through Instagram, or they know about our business through event in Facebook network. So we have to know everything, and then about our users and their behavior. And when we need to make categorization. Okay, so we got 3 types of users. So this user A, we are doing this, and this user B, they are doing this. So I'm going to show you a little bit of what I'm doing. Just hold a second. If I can open this one. Okay, well, I think there's a problem with my internet connection, but I'm going to show you later. Okay. Oh yeah, so okay, so this is what actually like what I'm doing. So I anonymize this person name, but and it is written in other language. But basically, this is what I call as a user profile. So we do a little bit of interview with this user and trying to know what is their goals, what is their motivation, like something that actually make them happy and accomplished when they achieve the goal. And when we talk about the goal, we are not talking about just the goal of the general goal, but it's actually the goal why they are actually coming to our service, why they are, and it is not just the goal that is like, when you ask about what is your goal, we have to use the rule of 5 whys. Like, for example, oh, I just want to buy a good product, and then we have to ask them like, what do you think you need a good product? Oh yeah, because I want to feel happy. And then we have to ask them again, like, what do you think you have to feel happy? And then we have to keep asking them until we could not find really like more things to ask further. And that is actually like the goal that we really want to find from our customers. And then we need to also find the motivation, what makes them like happy, feel happy if they want to, when they try to achieve the goal. And then the frustration is something what makes them feeling worried and stressful and angry when they are achieving the goal. Maybe they feel, oh, okay, when I was about to pay, like if I do not get a notification if you are using the online service. Oh, well, I don't get a result or maybe answer in a couple of hours. Or maybe if we talk about the motivation, okay, well, this gives me a lot of discount when I'm using this. So you really have to dig deeper, like what is happening, and then you have to find like a roughly like where they live and what is their demographic information. And we also talk about the technology they use, the browser, the channels. When we talk about the channels here, we talk about how they react, they connect with our brand. So for example, we have a certain cafe brand, or maybe product, or maybe an app or something like that. How they actually come to our app, how they are actually using that. They are using a mobile phone, they are using the chatbot, they are using like a face-to-face, they are using call if they have a problem with our customer service. So we have to identify all of these. And then in this description, we are actually like when we talk with this person, we are talking with them like what they are actually doing every day, what is like basically further description of their bio information and their motivation and frustration and goal here in the description. And I also use this brand and influencer information because with knowing the brands and the influencer, actually then I can relate what is actually the user, our target user, actually like to do, like in their everyday life, how they actually, okay, well, for example, they are using Sara and they are using all these expensive brands. So we probably think, okay, well, this kind of user are people who are really like looking at a very expensive brand. So when they are really like our main target users, so we really need to think that our delivery of service, our delivery of product, how we package our product, how we serve our customer, we really need to think, okay, how we can actually not really exactly matching with the way how Sara or all this brand is actually serving our customer, but then we actually can, okay, well, at least I can learn from this type of brand how they actually serving their customer. So I know someone from one of my clients. He's actually, she said that well, she learns a lot about customer service when she deal with some products like Sara's channel and everything like that, because they were really high level of serving the customer. So if our customer is those people with those kind of brand, then we really need to learn how this brand actually serve their customer. So let's move on. If you have any question, please don't be afraid. Like just write it on the chat, and I'm trying to answer like each time there is questions coming up. Okay, so then as I told you before, like we need to start with the end. Now we know our customer. And then, okay, for this type of customer, this is what I want to achieve for my brand. And then the next thing that you have to try to find out with this type of customer, what kind of problems they are facing, right? So we need to list out all the problems. We have to start working with the first column here. We don't have to worry about the second and the third column yet. List out all problems that come up into your mind, and try to do it in a very short time. We call it as a time boxing. So you don't really have to spend so much time on this, but within maybe 15 minutes, list out all these problems, because then with this very small amount of time, then you can focus and can produce a lot of ideas. And once you come up with all this problem, you go to the next part, which is who is this problem for? For example, the number of patrons coming to the restaurant are less and less since April 2020. And then we would ask, like, who is this problem for? Oh, well, this is a problem for the restaurant owners. Maybe you have other people who has this problem. This is a problem for the waitress. This is a problem for the manager. So you list everything out here, like who is this problem related to, right? And for example, you have three people, like the manager and then the waitress here. And then for each of the subject here, then you will write down here, like why is it a problem? So for the restaurant owner, for example, why is it a problem? Because with the less number of patrons coming to the restaurant, which means that it's less income for the restaurant, and the restaurant become unattractive because people would not be interested, like coming to the restaurant because it's so quiet, and then they are afraid that it is a really nice food or not. And you write down everything. Once you write down all this problem, right, what you need to do is to make the priority. Because as a small business, you don't have the whole world you have a limitation of time, you have a limitation of perhaps you have a limitation of number of people, perhaps you have a limitation of resources in terms of financial to solve all the problems. But by knowing all the problems that you have and lay down here, and you will be able to, okay, well, I will just focus on this one because this problem is the most problems that I need to solve, because if I do not solve right now, this other problem will be like there will be more problems that will come. Or if I solve this problem first, then the other problem will be gone. So that's something that you have to make a judgment on that one. Once you have, so finding a problem is something that is actually quite interesting. So this is basically when we talk about design thinking, we're talking about the problems or maybe challenges that is not easily, not easily. You have to, okay, well, it's not just a normal problem. You have to think of a problem. You have to choose A or B, right? Like here in this pictures from the good place, you have to choose whether you go to A, where there are a lot of people that you will hit, or maybe one person that you will hit, right? So with the one person, you will hit your parents. With the five person, you will hit nobody, basically like that. Maybe your neighbors. So this kind of situation is like make you think that I really need now like a design thinking. So why we use design thinking? It is just we can't solve problem by using the same kind of thinking we use when we created them. So basically the idea with the design thinking, we fail early, we fail fast. And when we talk about design thinking, we basically thinking about how we can actually make things work, how we can actually find solution. We do not just focus on making things beautiful, or for example, okay, let's change the cup or let's change our packaging, because it may not solve the problem, right? So the the thing is like what we talked before, like we need to put the user first as our center of thought, right? So in the design thinking process, the first thing that you have to do is to empathize. And sometimes this is a big problem for the business, because you probably think, okay, well, if we empathize with our users, we don't have time to. Okay, we do not have resources to do interview, to do anything. Okay, well, I have dealt with this hundreds of cases like this, and what I would do, okay, that's okay. Try to do things in agile way, right? Like okay, try to find maybe 5 different people, right? Like who is using your business, and try to empathize their problems. You do interview, that's the easiest you can do. Call, make a call, Zoom call, meet them face to face, or sometimes you can just do what is called as a shadowing. You follow them and trying to see like what they are doing in their natural place, and then from there you will make it, you define like what problem they have, and then you will start creating some ideas. And in this process of ideating, you can create anything. Don't or close your mindset to any possibilities. So in the process of ideating here, right? So you need to have what is you need to have growth mindset, which means that okay, that's okay. Even though this is hard, this is impossible to be done, it's okay right now. I will just do what maybe ideally would be the best to solve this problem. And then it will come to the time when you have to do the prototype. Don't think only for something related to a website or app, but you prototype anything. I prototype the way I ask my clients to line up in a queue. I prototype a bench. I prototype my way of receiving a call. I prototype anything basically. So basically with the prototype, you have some idea, you try out. And then you have to try out whatever level of prototype that you have. You have to try it out with the users. You cannot just try it with yourself, or you just try it with your spouse or partner, but you have to try it with the users. Remember, we have to start with the users. Ask the user to test your prototype and get their feedback as early as possible. So I have a lot of my clients are from the bank, and they said, well, it is very risky to do like all this process in the banking, because once you create something and it fails, your name will be like at stake, right? And we change something, people will complain, and it is about their money. No, you have to create a place where actually with the prototype, it's a safe place you can try out. And then there are many ways that you can do. Actually, you can test in a small scale and see to get that feedback. And then after that, okay, if this is something what we can do, move further. So there are levels of prototyping here. You can prototype very simple, just like a scribbles that you have on your paper. You can prototype nicely with some props, or if it is like a physical product, or maybe you have a real nice prototype with your mobile phone, for example, on anything or a website, as good as possible. You can use Canva, you can use anything. Basically, there are so many technology that you can use, and get their feedback, test it, and get their feedback. And if something wrong, then you can go back and rewind it before you create the final product. Right? And this mindset needs to change, because people think this is waste of time. But actually, if you start with the 5 people here, you do all this process, it probably will only take like 3 to 5 days for you to complete one, like a one cycle. And if you are happy with that, if you think you can get a good feedback, then you can move on to make it as a reality. So I always say to my client, don't make an excuse for not doing this process of empathizing the idea, doing the prototype and so on. And yeah, so this process, you start, remember I asked you to start with the end of the goal and then start with the problems. And the process of empathizing is like a called discovery. We try to discover as many as possible. So this divergent process, actually, we open to as many as possible idea. And then when we got all different kind of idea, we go to define, we do converse. We define what is the problem. And then based on this problem, we do how we actually develop some idea, generate idea, ideation. And then after that, you will develop the final outcome for this product and the service to solve the problem that you have. So this design thinking, it's sometimes like there's a lot of critics, there's a lot of thinking, right? So this is my friend Checknet. He's trying to do this in 5 days, all this process. As I said before, try to do it in 5 or 3 to 5 days. Well, if you have been doing this for several times, it makes things easier because you already have your user profile, you already have your persona, so you don't have to spend a lot of time from the very beginning. You can do it really quick. All this process has to be done iteratively, iteratively, and it's like a quicker as the time goes by. So, well, this is another diagram. Basically, you got an idea, you do prototype, you pre-release. What is mean by pre-release is like when you try to test it to a lot of users, you do a soft release. Okay, let me try with this idea. Okay, I got a bakery shop. I will try with this type of a bakery or dessert or something like that, and I will have this what is it, this coupon or something like that. And then, okay, well, it works, and oh, this doesn't work, then maybe the concept is wrong, or maybe the idea, the prototype, the technical implementation doesn't work properly. Then you can do this process again, and if it is ready to be released and you release it to become a product of your brand or services that you will continually like produce, for example, every Wednesday or every Saturday. And then post-release means that after you release this product as your final product, you do not just like stay quiet. This is what we often, that this a lot of small business are very happy. Okay, well, we got a lot of people like buying our new coffee, right? And then after that, after sometimes, okay, well, what is going on here? Like after 6 months, nobody buy my coffee anymore. Because you missed the 6 months here for doing what is called as post-release. The post-release, basically, you continuously making the habit to check. Take a note, maybe if it is like something physical. Okay, how many people actually coming to my store today? How many, and what they actually buy? So I know I know a small yogurt cafe like near where I live. They actually like take notes of the customer coming every second and what they buy, and that's really nice because they keep doing that, so they can monitor in a week, in 2 weeks, in 3 weeks, in a month, and if there is something wrong, they can just do improvement here. Does it need an improvement? Yes, you can go back to concept. Do we have the same concept, or do we need to renew the concept, rethink the concept, or we can actually just, there is no more improvement needed, and then we finish and we make it as very, very final product. And why do we need to do this? Again, because we are living in a situation when there are a lot of uncertainty. And if we are just being static, not doing anything, we kind of like misguided in a way, because people perception, people thinking can be different, can change each time. And you as a business needs to be alert with all the changes that you have. And this is what happened with Design Thinking 2.0. You have done all this process, you test, learn, and reflect. And we also do this release the process. and the post-release. So the thing that happened after the product become a final product is either bakery, is other shop, is other process, customer service, or whatever it is. But you make it not just up to the prototype thing, but it is very important for the business to make it as the final product. And you need to have a deadline. You need to mind about the time, because with the design thinking, you need to follow the process of agile. You cannot just, oh, maybe this idea is good, maybe this idea is good, but you have to be, as I said before, as the time boxing. Okay, now we are doing the conception, we do the prototype, we do the pre-release, and then we release it, and we need to monitor after I release it. And then it may go back, or we might move on to the new product or services that we have. And this is why design thinking 2.0 is proposed instead of the normal design thinking, when it's only focused on thinking of an idea, innovative ideas that you probably can have. And the other thing, what is important with the design thinking 2.0, you need to follow what is called as systemic thinking and ecosystem thinking. You do not just focus on the users that actually use your product or services. You also need to think of the people at the front stage, where they, from your business, actually connected directly to the users, and people at the backstage who actually like supporting the people at the front stage to run the job properly. And also you are also thinking of the support system. It can be your the people who provides the technical capabilities for you externally. You outsource people who provided goods for you to run the business. For example, they provided wheat, or they provided flour, they provided milk or coffee and things like that if you have a cafe. So they have to really manage all these people when you are doing this process of design thinking 2.0. So that's again system thinking, ABCD, and this agile process of getting continuous consumer feedback. So I just want to give you one share first case study here. The first case study here is about a restaurant when the owner was a bit worried because the people seems unhappy working in the restaurant. And she was thinking, okay, well, might be the case is like these people working, the kitchen people, they are unhappy because they are not paid properly. Maybe they want to have a more salary. But she's talking to them, interviewing them, observing how they are doing things, and then she basically doing the first part of empathizing with the users and then defining the problems. So it's this process of discovery and defining the problems. And she found out that the real problems actually not the salary. So she actually, what she did was actually she gave a new uniform for these people who were working in the kitchen. And surprisingly, everyone was happy. And why is that? Because they felt, based on the user research that she found, like people did not feel comfortable working in the kitchen and with a certain kind of clothes. They did not feel comfortable of doing that. And then after that, they changed the clothes and really nice, and everyone was happy. So what we often find the right thing, we find as an assumption, it does not necessarily as the solution that we have. We really need to hear from our users what actually they need. And when we are able to do that, you will be able to change the whole thing. So what she did was she was changing, she was doing the design thinking 2.0, but not to the end customer, but it's all to the backstage people, the people who are actually supporting her to support customers. Because if these people are not happy, they're probably not creating good food that will make the customer happy. They're probably not creating good food that makes this waitress, the front stage people, happy, so she can smile to the customer and give the good service for the customer. So the second case study is about food again. So this is a cafe, and this cafe is located somewhere, and it's quite crowded in the morning, right? So when it is in the morning, why everybody like going to work in the morning and they buy coffee and maybe croissant or something like that. But then that's it. Like during lunchtime, they were surprised because there are not many people actually coming to the cafe. And then what the person, the cafe owner did actually is he did the user research. Like he take his car and then going around, he walk around the neighborhood and see what is going on, and see other people selling the similar thing. Other cafe also find the that is very quiet as well. So she drive a bit further and see that most of the offices actually quite not within the walk distance, but it is within driving distance. And that he found, he talked to the people and he found out that people only have a 1 hour for rest. And if they do it, like for going to the cafe back again, then they have to maybe spend half an hour going to the place, 10 minutes time to 20 minutes and waiting in line, get the food, and then while they eat, and basically they have nothing left for their break. So what they did after doing this, they come up with idea solution how make things help for this problem to make things work. So the person like selling the package lunch with the coffee as a part of the like a package, and surprisingly it went really well. So the solution is not making things cheaper, but actually, well, it is actually higher. It's more expensive, but people buy it, and they got a better business because of that. So we talk about the finding, understanding about the users. Users are in the center. I believe you know all this brand and why IKEA has been really successful because they put users as the center of any product that they develop. Why they create showroom? Because they want to see like how people react in a close like a lab in the showroom. What people do, what people engage in the showroom, and they observe everything. Also, like when they are going to open a place, for example, in India, they did like about 3 years of study in India before they actually really like set the office or store in India. They see how people actually buy things, how people like doing things in the household, and it's like IKEA is a big company, and as you know, there's nothing more they need. They know all the data from the internet, but why do they make an effort to do all this stuff? Because they know that users are changing, and they don't want to miss this opportunity to understand the different behavior of the users, which actually like make them really successful in the business. So you can do what is called as primary and secondary research. So I was talking to some of my group, like I'm mentoring people in the council, and they are just happy with the secondary research. And I said, like, what do you mean by what have you done? Well, we have a lot of data. What kind of data? Well, we got information from the government, from the UNESCO, from all these things. So we know everything. No, I said, no, you are creating something for people in WA. So you really need to know, you need to check, like that data is very important to shape you, like what is actually happening in the bigger scale. But you really need to know whether this fact is the same fact that when you are doing the research, when you are developing something for people in WA. And they said, like, how can I talk to people? Well, that's easy. What you can do is like you identify from the data, the secondary research that they have done from the information on the web. Actually, they list out, okay, well, my potential customer for this very, very new innovative service is this and this and this and this. How can I find all these people within our neighborhood? Okay, well, I find this doctor, I found this health care institution, and I found this nurse, I found this one. Okay, just go there. And if you are not able to make interview, just do an observation, how they do things, and then just sitting there and then watching how they are doing their works, right? And then if there is a possibility, can you please do what is called as a contextual interview? You ask them, what do you do? Why do you do that? And that was really helpful because they think, oh, well, actually these people here, based on the data that remarket research data the council or the government of Australia have done in the past is not the same as the reality right now. Yes, that's what I told you. And it changed the way when they create the business model canvas, the value proposition canvas, everything changed because they just like spend 1 or 2 days, go to the people and then make us for confirmation whether this problem is still exists or not. So if your research is based on the existing product or service, you would call as evaluative. Evaluative, for example, I have a business, for example, I have a hairdresser business, for example. I would ask my customer, maybe I will create like a small survey, maybe 1 minute survey using a type form or Google form. And then I will ask them, how do you think about my service? Why do you think I'm doing good? And why do you think it is good? Or what do you think it is bad? And then you can give like a $5 voucher for coffee or something for these people. They will be happy and they will answer you, for any question if they are your customer. And if you are like a really trying to introduce a new product, it's called generative research. So basically you are asking for example, I'm going to create an app, or maybe I'm going to create a new food. So new Japanese food, for example, I would ask them like, have you experienced Japanese food? What do you think about Japanese food? What food do you like? What food you don't like? So based on those information, I would be able to really understand what people who would be our target user really like to eat in terms of Japanese food. So that's called generative research. You will collect qualitative and quantitative research. With this form, the type form, the Google form, you'll be able to get, okay, well, I got 10, maybe 20 people replied to me through my Instagram post, and they got like a $5 voucher for coffee. And they said that, well, 50% of them, they said they like coffee, and 50% of them, they like tea, and 80% of them, so that is called quantitative, right? And the qualitative is, okay, well, they like coffee, which is like this, with the good coffee. When we ask like, what is a good coffee? And they will write down, good coffee is blah, 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 blah. And you can also get this by talking to people, by observing people, by interviewing people, and then you will get a qualitative data. So this is some activity. Let me go back. And when you do an observation, this is what you do. You find out what is this person actually doing, and how this person is doing it, and then why this person actually doing that. So it's quite interesting. Like the first part, it's called exploratory. It's like you just look at this person, the target user you are trying to observe. The easiest way, I'm gonna give you an example. You are in the cafe and then you see there, look at these people. But there's the people who like to sit at the corner, and some people, they like to sit outside. And then you will see like they will sit outside. What do they do? And when they're inside, what do they do? And then you ask them, not ask, asking them, because you're just observing here, like how they do, like how do they order, how they do their job, or how do they sit, how do they do everything. It's called descriptive. Yeah, that's a but it's all based on our observation. And then the next one is like a why. In this why, it's quite you, because you probably do not really know what is happening, but by observing them for maybe a few minutes, you will probably get, okay, why does he have a lot of books? Oh, maybe because he needs because it is time for the exam. So suppose this is the student, uni student, time for exam. So he maybe he wants to study more about that. So that's called, this part is called explanatory. You try to find one. And this is what you need to observe, the 5 key things that you need to observe. The activities. This is like what is the activities? We talk about what activities. And then the other things is like we have discussed that is the environment. Okay, well, this guy is sitting in the corner. What kind of environment? Why does he always sit there? Like what is around him? What kind of environment is he in right now? And then the next one is the interaction. What is this person doing actually interacting? What does he interacting? Does he like a write on the board, or does he like make a call, or does he talk with someone else, or what is like what kind of interaction he's doing? And then the next one is the object. So the object is like what kind of object is he using? Is he watching? Is he touching and everything? What kind of object around him? Maybe, oh yeah, he likes to sit there behind all these beautiful walls and beautiful writing on the wall, or maybe else. And the last thing that you would see is the residence, like who else actually around this person that you are actually observing. So these 5 key things: activities, environments, interaction, object, and residence are the 5 key things that you need to consider when you are doing the observation. So with those all information, I have shown you like the user profile, and maybe you have seen all 3 different users, right? And then the next thing that you have to find is the persona. So the persona is actually those people, those 2 people, for example, Sebastian and Julia, they are not real people, but they are actually like people who share the goal. If the Sebastian, for example, it consists of Mary and Andy, who has the goal A, and then Julia is actually people who has the goal B, like Mary. And what is the purpose of persona? Why do we need a persona for our business? The primary persona is the people who wants to focus first when we are developing our product and services. So, for example, we want to develop like a mobile service. So the primary persona is people who actually not the elderly people, actually the working people, the people working in the CBD, and then they have no time, and they need to order everything online. So this is like my target user. This is the primary persona that we have for this mobile service, right? But we also have a secondary persona, which is mom, for example, who wants to do a lot of things at the same time, but he wants to get the same experience like when he comes to the place. But yeah, but she doesn't have a really good time. So this is a secondary persona. But why we make it as a primary and secondary? Because our majority main target users, like maybe 80% of them, they are like all this like a Sebastian. So we're gonna focus on Sebastian first. And if Julia can, Julia is only 20% and not really like causing a lot of income for us. So that's okay. We're gonna put Julia on the queue after we fix everything for Sebastian, then Julia can perhaps benefit first from the design that we developed for Sebastian, and maybe later we can specialize this for Julia. So that's how we're actually using persona. And yeah, we have talked about persona. This is like a cool quotes, motivation frustration, as you see before, channels, touch point. And then the next thing is the scenario. And how does the scenario work actually? So with the scenario, like you have created a persona, and then based on this persona, you create some ideas, right? So for example, I'm going to make an app service for my coffee shop, right? And then after that, how do I actually, for example, the persona Julia, for example, or Sebastian, actually using my app service, right? Well, maybe then because you know Sebastian really like in and out, right? Like their behavior, what time he comes to the office, like what he's doing. So you actually will think, okay, my app will be used by Sebastian in the morning. Then he will make an order, he will send to us. So we actually, as the coffee shop owner, can actually see who actually ordered something before 11 o'clock, and they will pick it up like by 11:30 or 12 o'clock. Like then we can know, and Sebastian will receive a confirmation. That's what is called as contextual scenario. The product has not been yet produced or developed, but then by knowing the target users, then we can imagine like how is this particular user will be using our product. What is the purpose of contextual scenario? The purpose is like when we started to think this persona is using our product and services, then we will see, oh, okay, well, this doesn't work because Sebastian will not have time at 8 o'clock to make an order for his coffee or his lunch because he has a meeting, right? So then we have to give him a reminder at 9 o'clock instead of 8 o'clock. So that's the purpose of contextual scenarios. And then the contextual scenario will be different if it is Julia, the mom, right? Like because she's busy until 10 o'clock, and then 10 o'clock, she'll be the one who will be like chasing, okay, can you do it right away? Or what is it? Like she will have a lot of stress by 11:30. And how are you going to manage all this stress by 11 or 11:30? So that's the purpose of contextual scenario, because you can think of the end, right? Like what is the scenario of the end that you want to achieve by doing all of this process? Okay, let's move on. Okay, so once you define your goal, right? Like we go back to the beginning again, right? Like you have a problem, you have your goal. If you have the small business, this is what you need to do. You really need to think of your long-term goal. What is going to happen in 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, and what also like what can be like things that makes you success, what can make things that makes you failure. So this is what you will do, like as a business owner, you have to be able to envision all these aspects. And we have talked about it a little bit, like the person. So for example, if you have the persona, like how is this persona actually doing the job? For example, ordering a coffee in the morning, like during the weekday. And then as we know of all the brands that he has, all the channels and the touch point, you will be able to identify what problems this person actually doing when he orders coffee. Is it about payment? Is it about ordering? All these aspects can be captured in the customer journey, but we are not going to talk about it because there is a class specifically on this customer journey. Same with the service station blueprint, we talk about it. This is the customer journey, but it is related to the people at the front stage and the back stage, like the people who supported you in the business related to customer directly or not related to customer directly, or the support people. So now I'm gonna skip this one because yes. So with this idea of knowing your customer and their pains and gains, right? You will be able to create what is, if it is like already something good. Oh, I really like the coffee from the shop, right? So we can actually improve. What we can actually improve from the things that the good things that this person is actually already experienced. How we can improve that. If it is a pain, well, I don't really like because the client is the waiters are really rude. How we actually create pain relievers? Do we have to lay off the waitress, or what do we have to do? Or do we have to change the SOP or anything like that? And based on these gain creators and pain relievers, we create a better product and services. So there are some process. So we have a class on this one. So based on the insight that you have, you will do a different kind of process of ideation. We ideate the idea. There are several processes that are actually like the process that actually help us to come up with the ideas. And we don't necessarily have to be a designer to create all these ideas. We just really need to know what is like the user need, and based on that, we can create better idea. So this is storyboarding, contextual scenario. We have talked about it, and there are different kind of methods that we can use. And please check it out. Like I have certain class on storyboarding, on contextual scenario. And then this is also about prototyping, and then this is certain the next thing is about testing your idea with your customer. We have talked about this a lot, and if you want to do it properly, there is a what is it like a template that you can actually follow. You can try to understand what is the purpose, who do you want to test, what do you want to test, and every single testing that you do, you will be able to really like a check whether it is on the right track or not on the right track. And as you got a lot of ideas, you need to make the prioritization of ideas. And there are many ways you can actually prioritize your idea. Is it based on the impact? Is it based on the difficulties? How you realize this idea? Is it based on the economic? There are many ways how you can actually prioritize your idea, because once you talk with the users, there will be a lot of ideas that you can come up to solve the problems of your business. So that's what we have learned today. We learned what is design thinking, what is some introduction about design thinking, some case studies, some practical implementation, and some tips of doing the user research. I really hope that it's whatever we have discussed today, it will be useful for you to help you to improve your business. And if you are struggling, and hopefully it can help you to survive and go back to on the right track again. So if you don't mind, like please have some time to give a feedback about this and how we can actually improve this webinar. So yeah, please check out if you need to have a consultation you haven't done, you can get free consultation. If not, then this 60-minute consultation one-on-one is still available. You can also check it out. Like I will have a specific workshop and webinar on like developing ideas to how we can make the customer journey, how we can make the service design blueprint, and all these aspects in detail. But thank you very much for the time, and really enjoy your participation today, and I hope you have a good day. Thank you very much. Call me if you have any problems. See you. Bye.